Salute, Nick family. Welcome to the Queen's Court. I'm your host, Stephanie, aka Queen. And as always, we have a lot to talk about. Knicks 3-1 over the past week. We're going to talk about what stood out for us. We'll talk about, how the panel feels in the chat over DeLon Wright starting over Kolick. We'll talk about OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges play. We'll talk about Jalen Brunson possibly coming back before the end of the season and whether or not he should be on a minutes restriction, even if he is 100%. I know there's some fans who think we should even wait for the playoffs for him to play. We'll talk about that. The Knicks are, anything can happen, but it looks like the Knicks are going to finish in the third seed. And what does that mean as far as minutes are concerned? Should the Knicks continue to play the minutes that they're playing to get ready for the playoffs, or should they scale it back a little bit? We'll talk about that. And then we'll also talk about the upcoming week. The Knicks have four games this week. Philly probably doesn't have much to play for. Cleveland, I'm not sure, whether they'll be resting or prepping for the playoffs because they haven't been. They're 5-5 over the last 10, so they may want to go in with some momentum. So they may actually play that game. And then you have Atlanta, who's a half a game out of 8, so they'll have something to play for. And then Phoenix Suns, who's 1.5 games as of today, anyway, out of the 8th seed. Excuse me, the 10th seed. They're 11th right now, so they may have something to play for. We're going to get into it. I got Geoff with me, happily ever Klafter daily sports blog, Ajay the villain, resident panelist, Dope Soul Sports Talk, joining us today in place of Tony Crowe, and Jay Boogie, aka the closer, my brother. I ain't seen him in a minute here, joining us today. And shout out to Tony Crowe, who can't make it today. And I take it Lady&TheChef from Two Knicks Chicks won't be with us today, though she's welcome to hop in late if she wants. I'm on location. Let me know in the chat if there's any issues with my video or audio so I can get it together. But how's everybody doing?
Fantastic.
All right. Ajay, you good? Jay Boogie, you good?
I'm feeling great. Sis. Hope you are, man. Shout out to I'm up here rocking with the queen, the first lady herself, rocking with the captain himself, and Angie, aka the airline pilot. Shout out to the chat, man. Let's get it.
Yeah, let's get it. Listen, let's get right into it. We're just gonna do a free form right now in terms of what stood out for you in this 3-1 week with wins over Dallas, Milwaukee, and Portland, and a loss to the Clippers, where I thought we had that game in hand until campaign came up lame in the second half. You can't tell me we weren't going to win that game. Like, that's just how well campaign was playing, and that's just how well the Knicks were playing that game. Anyway, 3-1 week. What stood out for you that week? Geoff and Ajay, if you don't mind, I'm going to let Jay Boogie go first.
Definitely. Never. I always acquiesce to my man.
Definitely.
Man, what stood out for me? Let's get straight to it. Everybody said, man, we paid him $40,000, just about $40 million per year. Just to play defense. I'm riding with OG. He's showing us all. I got hella game. It's just starting to, it's starting to come together. I seen him with the ins, the outs. The step throughs, the ups, the unders. And he might be leading the league, but I know he leads top 2 in dunks. So he's getting to that basket. Whether it's within the system or he's getting it to the basket on his own. Shout out to OG, man, because I always said if OG can give us anything else more than what we know he has, that's going to only big up the team, man. I really like what OG's been doing, man. He's being real aggressive. He's taking it upon himself. To me, be acting like, yo, Towns, you want to act like you want to take the third? I get that spot. Let me get them extra shots, man. But man, I really like what OG's been doing, on both ends of the floor. He's been there for us ever since Brunson went down. This guy's really stepping his offensive game up. He's looking for his shots. He's taking his shots. He's creating his shots. Anything he got to do on the offensive end, he's providing, he's doing. So I'm happy with OG, keep doing. And I know the captain is watching him. So the captain probably, when he come back, he going to be like, don't stop. stop doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you've been doing. This is what we need. So yeah, OG has been really, opening my eyelids even wider after the great one above, unattaches them. So I'm riding with OG, man.
Man, I don't know if I could have said it any better. I don't know if I have anything to add to that. Geoff, what stood out? Well, let's just stick with OG for a moment, and then Geoff, we'll get to you in terms of what stood out. What's your thoughts on OG Anunoby? For me, very aggressive, super aggressive, but yet not forcing it. It's just when it comes to him, he's aggressive. And I'm loving him in transition. I'm just loving how he's using his strength and his balance to finish at the rim. My issue with OG has always been his lack of assertiveness. I'm not seeing any of that now. Geoff, thoughts on OG, and then you can get into what stood out for you as well.
Well, OG's been a revelation. I mean, the guy is just doing it on both ends of the floor. I mean, to carry the kind of offensive load that he's been carrying and continue to play defense at a more than elite level is astonishing. Like, I don't know that there's a whole lot of guys that do that. And I think you hit it on the head, though, Queen. I think a lot of his offensive numbers are coming because of his great defense. He's getting the stop on one end, boom, he's off and running, and then he's just on another level with he just figured out I'm 6'8", 245, and you're either going to have to foul me or you're going to get dunked on and be a poster. It's your choice, And I think in the one game he was 10 for 10 at the free throw line. I mean, it's not only getting there, but when you get there and you punish the other team by knocking them all down, then it's like, well, you just got to give them the bucket, because if you're going to make them at the line anyway, What else do you do? But I'm kind of pleased with this week because I finally got to see something I've been praying for all season, and that's McCall and OG having good games at the same time. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
So
Facts.
And I think this all stems from an increase in aggressiveness on the part of both players. Actually, McCall's drives to the basket have doubled, from more than doubled. I think he was averaging like 5 drives per game with Brunson in the lineup. That number's up to 11. And I think it's also, I think with OG, it's like from 5 to 8. So these guys are taking on the responsibility of being more of a hub of the offense than they're used to being, and it's really paying some nice dividends for us, and it's really allowed us to keep above water. And I know the competition hasn't been great, I'll admit, but to be 7-5 with the absence of your best player and your leading scorer, I think it speaks volumes, So from an initial standpoint, that's really what I saw, is those two guys really stepping to the forefront. And in fact, I'll go one step further. The last 2 games, Towns hasn't been good on offense at all. And so OG's taken the number 1 spot, and McCall it's 1A and 1B from those 2 guys. And if you can get those 2 guys to perform at a top level option and then sprinkle Brunson back into the mix, I'm not saying you can do that because obviously their number of drives and touches are going to go down, but just to have that confidence and knowledge that I can take over a game and I can help this team win, I think that just it raises the ceiling for this team in a legitimate way, in my opinion. And I might be being a homer there, but I really feel like if you've got OG unlocked offensively, I think we saw that in game 3 of the Indiana series before he got hurt. Remember, he had like 26 points in 25 minutes or something crazy like that. So when we were rolling when he did that, and then he pulled up with the hammy, and then it all, went to hell in a handbasket pretty fast. But but the point is that when he is playing at that elite offensive level, and then you add back a Brunson and you run out of ways to stop people. That's the Boston conundrum, right? Okay, even if I put a clamp on Brown and Tatum and Derek White, then I still have Drew Holiday and KP killing me. Like, you can pick whatever poison you want; it's still going to kill you, And so, if OG can continue to be lethal and Bridges rides up that wave with him, I think that's going to be massive for this team.
Yeah, and Geoff, I may be a homer as well, but this past week watching the games, I said, you know what? I just have a good feeling about this team heading into the playoffs. I just have a good feeling about them. The last 5 games without Deuce McBride, without Brunson, the Knicks have been 13th in offensive efficiency and 7th in defensive efficiency without Deuce, right? So a lot of times, our bump in defense was, well, Deuce is here, and he's playing a point of attack, and we don't have Brunson, right? Now we're without Deuce, we're without Brunson, and the Knicks, the 5 games without Deuce, have been 7th in defensive rating. So I'm encouraged by that, but you also have to look at the opponent. The Wizards, Dallas, Clippers, Milwaukee, Portland. These are not like offensive juggernauts. But I've always said that I felt like the Knicks had a higher ceiling defensively than what we saw. Like I saw it from in a few possessions in different games. I saw it for stretches of games. They just haven't been able to put it together for long stretches. And if that starting 5, look, they're not going to be a defensive juggernaut with Brunson and Towns in the game. But if they could just be adequate and we continue how we're moving the ball, player movement, ball movement, I'm encouraged going into the playoffs. And I know people have concerns about Brunson coming back and hogging the ball, but I will say this. Before the All-Star break, when we had the almost a historic offense, moving the ball, player movement, Brunson was the head of the snake. So I'm not buying into the narrative that the Knicks can't play this brand of ball without Jalen Brunson, because prior to the All-Star break, we did. We did it for almost, was it 50 games before the All-Star break, or almost 50 games before the All-Star break? This is how we were playing. Right. So to me, this is just about getting back to what the Knicks were prior to the All-Star break. And when Brunson comes back, that we continue, that. But I'm just encouraged by what I'm seeing. Ajay, any thoughts on OG? And then again, anything that stood out for you this week?
Man, I mean, shit, there's very little meat left on the bone at this point. Yeah, didn't leave me nothing. I'm just trying to pick up crumbs here. I like OG. That's it. No, OG's been amazing. And one of the things, Queen, I know in the past you've heard me complaining about my discomfort with him and Towns driving to the basket. And like he has been picking and choosing exactly the right time to drive to the basket, right? The lane is open. He's going in with force. He's going in with strength. He's going in fast, very active, and like totally unstoppable. He's not driving into traffic as he used to. When there's traffic down there, he stays away, shoot, because he can't shoot the 3, and he does. And he's been playing very smart basketball lately. Not just that he's athletic and strong, and the defense is insane. I mean, we know what he does. Any ball like within reach, he's going for it, right? But he's been playing very smart basketball, picking and choosing what he does. And not only it's good, like he's efficient, it's very effective for us, but also, with the risk of other like things happening at this point of the season, you want guys to be smart. You want guys not to do crazy things and get themselves hurt out there. And he's been doing that. The only thing I have to say about OG, like, dog, chill, man. Save it for the playoffs. I mean, we know what you can do. Relax. Don't put it all out there, man. Like we relax. But I mean, you love what he's doing. You love the activity. You love the aggressiveness. You love he's been earning the money, man. He's been earning it. There's no complaint at this point. Like he's our top gun right now.
Yeah, and I don't want to leave out Mikal Bridges, who's that mid-range is just smoking right now.
We're going to talk about him too, I suppose, right?
Yeah. I'm bringing him up right now. That mid-range is just smoking. And to Jeff's point, Cat hasn't even had the last 2 games, didn't have great games. And here come those 2 stepping up. And to your point, when you get into the playoffs, it bees like that sometimes, where a certain player is not able to get off. They're off, or the defense is keying on them. Somebody else has to step up, right? And to see OG and Mikal Bridges stepping up, and not just Brunson's absence, but Towns not playing at his best the last 2 games is also encouraging. Listen, I'm a huge Mikal Bridges fan. I know the chat gets on me that I'm too high on him. This is what happens when you're the third option. When the first 2 options are there, you don't really get to see what the player can do because they're playing a specific role. But when one of them players go out, they step into the forefront, and you really get to see what they can do. And it's no secret, right? We've seen Mikal Bridges and Brunson when Durant, and I want to say even what's the shooting guard on Phoenix? Booker was out, and he had to step up, and he did. And then we saw him in Brooklyn, so we know he has that capability. So I'm not surprised by anything I'm seeing from him, but it's just nice to see it. It's just really nice to see it. Thoughts on Mikal Bridges, what you're seeing, and how difficult is it going to be given that it's only so many touches to go around when we're whole again? Do you think anything changes as far as his role is concerned? Geoff, Ajay, then Boogie.
Oh, that's a great question. I think his role's got to change. I mean, it's one of those things where they shot the sheriff, but they didn't shoot the deputy. The deputies come in guns blazing, right? And you love to see it, and that's what a team does. Like your role changes sometimes based upon circumstance. And right now, we need Bridges and Anunoby to be more potent offensively. We can't be the team that just sits and watches our point guard dominate play.
Correct.
Well, I have an interesting trivia question for you, and I think this might be a good time to do it for this year's Knicks. So we've played 74 games, and all 5 starters have led the team in scoring at least once. Now, Josh Hart's done it twice, and we lost both of those games. Okay, so throw that out. Other 4 players. First question is, who has the best winning percentage when they're the leading scorer? And the second question is, who has the best record? Wait, that's the first question. Who has the best record? And then the second was, who has the most being the top scorer?
Most wins?
No, most being the top scorer. Most times being the top scorer. You're muted,
I think You're on mute.
Are you saying who has the most wins as being the top scorer?
Yeah. So there's 2 things. Who has been the top scorer the most, and then who has the best winning percentage of those 4 guys when he scores the most?
I'm gonna let that ride. I know what it is because we on the topic, so I don't want to just say it because it's Bridges.
You're right, Bridges. So Bridges has been the Knicks' leading scorer 7 times this year, and the Knicks are 5-2 in those games. Interestingly, Brunson has been out for 12 games, and he is 19-12 in the 31 games where he was the lead scorer, which is the worst of those other 4. OG is now 6-3 after those 2 being the top dog of these last 2 wins, and Cat is 17-8. So, I think it's crazy. I never would have guessed that, but when Brunson is the leading scorer, we're still good. Like we're still a really good 19-12 is winning 61% of your games, but we're at our best when it's one of those other 3 guys. Mikal, OG, or Cat, and when it's Mikal, we win 70% of our games. So that's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. I don't know if that's gonna hold playoff time, but we shall see. That is definitely interesting. Anything else about Bridges? Ajay, did you want to add to what you're seeing? Geoff, did you get a chance to finish what you were saying about Bridges?
That's what I wanted to say, is just that his impact, especially without Brunson, has been palpable. And in games where he has it going, it's really good news for the Knicks.
Yeah, facts. Ajay?
Queen, so I want to make a quick reference to the to Just Nicking It show. And one of the things I mentioned when we're looking, we're talking about what do we expect from Mikal Bridges, is one of the things I said is I wanted him to take more responsibility, like take more on his shoulder. And because Jalen Brunson's out, now is your time to shine. Now is your time to take up that lead role. Even if you have another guard out there, be that primary guard that drives the offense, right? You don't have to be. I mean, you don't have to impede on anybody's way, but at least take that leadership role. And I feel like he's been doing that the last couple of games, even when he doesn't shoot lights out. But he's been at least trying to take that leadership role, try to take on more responsibility in terms of not only defending but also creating the offense and getting things started. And then, as you mentioned, that mid range is when it doesn't go in, you're like, what? How do you miss that? It's right there.
Right.
You expect it to go in. You know what I'm saying. So that's been happening. So the thing is, when Brunson comes back, there's a little adjustment period, right? Chemistry, it's very important. There's going to be a little adjustment period. But if all those guys, if OG and Mikal Bridges, if they could playing close to what they're doing right now, when Brunson's back and when Karl-Anthony Towns is back into shape or back playing the way he was playing in the beginning of the season,
right.
Look out, man. Watch out. We're gonna have a nice postseason run if all those things line up.
Yeah. And to your point, when Brunson comes back, before I get to Boogie, it's just continuing the process. Like, none of those guys are forcing it. Everybody's just passing it to the open guy. Shoot it if you're open. If you're not, you're gonna attack the closeout. You're gonna pass it. It's just simple, basketball.
Smart.
And that just needs to smart basketball, right? That just needs to continue when Jalen Brunson comes back. He's done it before. I'm not sure after the switch after the All-Star break, we were back Brunson centric, right? I don't know what happened. Just getting back to that, because you're harder to guard when you're that way. You're easier to guard when Brunson is dominating the ball. Now, don't get me wrong. There's going to be times, particularly in the playoffs, when he's going to have to go to work. Things bogged down, he's going to have to go to work. But until those times, just play basketball. Boogie, thoughts on Mikal Bridges?
Yeah, so many times, during the season, the hearsay and the say here, people wanted to put Bridges on the bench, let him come off the bench and play with them guys. But Bridges was never going to go to the bench, but I can understand if he subs out and he comes back in and he's playing with the bench players, and then he's the lead scorer and doing what he's doing as he's doing right now. When you talk about things gonna change, what I'm saying? Nothing is getting ready to change. It don't have to change. And that's the greatness about what's going on with these two guys. Brunson is seeing and watching. He's not just sitting over there with his Converses looking like he in a Hoover Deuce movie like last night, watching. He's understanding what's going on with these guys, what I'm saying? He's not coming back to claim nothing. He don't have to claim his spot. He's already certified. He's solidified with this right here. What he need to do is come fit in with his game. Towns is the only one that's been really, really kind of like suffering. OG and Bridges, what I'm saying? They taking this opportunity like, okay, let's go. We ain't stopping. Now let's go on the other end and see if they can stop us too. So I look for Brunson just to fit himself back in. And like Queen said, yeah, we know in the playoffs there's going to be certain times he's going to have to get busy. That's just the type guy he is. But I look for him to continue on keeping these guys and making sure they're mashing the gas and doing what they're doing as if he was not playing. You know what I'm saying? I love what Bridges is doing. That mid-range, man, It's slash Kawhi Leonard slash, you know what I'm saying? I can't think of my other man I wanted to say that used to play with Chicago. You know, he remind me a little bit of it. Lou Dane, you know what I'm saying? He's just cooking right now on all facilities of his game. And it don't matter where his mid-range is. He's not a certain area where he has to take a shot. His mid-range is all over the floor, whether it's in the middle of the court, the left side, the right side, you know, and that catch and shoot pull-up trade, that is starting to become lethal too. And it keeps the defense off sets, man. But I love where Bridges is playing. He's rocking, you know what I'm saying? And he deserves to be feeling like he's feeling right now and cooking like he's cooking. And I just know Brunson is just gonna come right back and fit himself right in, especially with them guys, because we're not going to go far as Brunson can go. We're going to go as far as the whole team can go.
Correct.
And I know this is what Brunson is looking at, and he's probably talking to them guys and telling them after every game, yo, are y'all doing y'all thing? And I'm not looking to take that. Y'all need to continue on cooking. I'm going to help y'all continue on doing what y'all doing, you know, when the playoffs time is coming. I'm with you, Queen. I can't wait for the playoffs to start because it's 0-0 to everybody on the East and everybody on the West. It's the first one of 16 games. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole nother season. We starting to chill and get it right here, right now. Man, I'm loving it. I'm loving it, man. Rest your ankle. Rest your ankle. Matter of fact, we don't even need you from Milwaukee. I don't need you from Milwaukee. They done. They up out of here. Now, I don't need you from Milwaukee. You know what I'm saying? If we play Detroit, I'm like, that's a different story there. You might be back. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. I like what Bridges is doing. Shout out to Mikal Bridges, man.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, absolutely.
Do you think that Towns' struggles the last couple of games are because of he's the focal point of the opposing defense without having Brunson in the game? And so when you have a big man, especially, it can be difficult to get him like you can kind of wall him off and not give him very many touches if you play your defense in such a way. And is that opening up things for OG and Mikal in ways that maybe they haven't seen in a while?
You might be right about that. I would have to rewatch the game and see and really focus on Cat and see, you know, what is the defense doing to take him out of the game. But that's a good point. And the response is what's encouraging. Like if that's what they're doing and that's opening things up for other guys and other guys are recognizing that and taking advantage of it, man, that's what I've been asking for, right? For the Knicks to like process the game, you know, faster. Like, what are they taking away? What are they giving you? Chop, chop, chop. If that's the case, Geoff, I'm happy that the Knicks are taking advantage of it.
Yeah, they're really jamming him up on his shot now, and they're forcing him to go hard left. He's not really being able to get to his right as much as he used to. They're really forcing him to go left, and when he's going left, you know, the shot becomes that much difficult because now he's shooting it back with his right. You know what I'm saying? And at the times, whereas if Brunson was there, he's missing a lot of them wide open looks. Now, you know what I'm saying? Without Brunson being there, them wide open looks, they don't shrunk on him because now the defense guys, they know and understand his game and how he plays his game. And it's a difference between him playing by him playing with Brunson. Playing by himself, you know what I'm saying? You can clamp on him a little bit more. But you can't clamp on him like that when you got Brunson, you know what I'm saying? Because you got that extra person, you know what I'm saying, that he can make them wicked passes. He's a good ball passer now. He makes good passes. He's hitting a lot of guys in their pocket. As far as offensive scoring, they're jamming him up right now. That's why I mentioned before. I think he's missing Brunson, and it's starting to show a little bit now. You know what I'm saying? He don't need to get frustrated or nothing. It is what it is when you're the number one. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's why you got to appreciate Brunson so much. And when they try to clamp on him, he's still kill mode. You know what I'm saying? Some people got kill mode, and some people just got chill mode. Towns just got chill mode. He don't have kill mode, you know what I'm saying? But when Captain come back, you know, his game will rise back up. But yeah, that's a hell of a 5 point that you just brought up, Captain.
Yeah. And to your point, Jay Boogie, before I hand it over to Ajay, to me, that's what separates the stars from the superstars, man.
Mm-hmm.
It is when you know what they're going to do, you know what their spots are, you know they're going to go to him and what he likes to do, and he's able to knock it down anyway or make the right play anyway. That's what separates. And it's just good to know we got one of those guys on our team, that the game is never out of hand. It's a really good feeling. Ajay, any
Well,
thoughts?
yeah, I want to follow up on Jeff's question, probably with another question, right? So
Mhm.
if that is the case, and that's a good point, I never even thought of that. So that's probably what is happening. Like you, Queen, I probably I got to go back and look at the games to see if they,
Yeah,
if they double team in and try to get him frustrated and
right.
opening up guys. But now, if you're the Knicks, right? What's the strategy? Do you get Cat to work through it, figure it out, or just um let the other guys function? Because in the playoffs, see, the thing is, in the playoffs, everything's amplified, right?
Right.
And do you want Cat to work through it and figure it out while the other guys are getting theirs? Or do you want him to just deflect to the other guys and just be satisfied with his little 10-point, 10 rebounds? Or, like, what's the strategy for the Knicks?
You mean in terms of like not forcing it?
Not forcing it. Yeah. Like, because and the reason why I asked that is because
Mhm.
in the playoffs, you need Cat. You're gonna need Cat to be better than what he's been the past few games. So do you
Right.
get him to work through this, become better, or just lay back? Because we can't have lay back Cat in the playoffs.
Anybody?
Well, I think and Boogie said it best what he said about that chill. I love that. That's awesome analogy. But I think that's kind of Cat's personality to begin with. I've noticed all season he tends to be a player who lets the game come to him, and if it's not, if he's not feeling it, if it's not, if he's not in his bag, he's just gonna kind of continue on that. He doesn't seem to me like, I think he had 13 shots, I'm wanting to say, in the last game, which
Mhm.
to me is not very many. I think he's got to be up at 20, especially without Brunson. I would think you need to up that volume considerably. So I kind of think that's part of his personality that says, I don't exactly have it right now. I'm going to, defer. And, with Brunson on the court, I think that's kind of okay. But what we've seen, I think, with OG and with Bridges is equally true of Towns. When you're more aggressive, good things are going to happen. Excuse me, because these guys all have skill. It's not
Mhm.
like, a bull in a china closet where you just, you get aggressive and it's just an offensive foul. This guy's
Right.
got a bag. He's got every weapon in his arsenal. I mean, if you think about it,
Right.
he's one of the deadliest scorers in the history of the game. He's a
Yeah.
what, 50, 40, 80 guy, something like that. Those don't grow on trees. 50, 40,
Yeah.
84, something in that range for his career. Like,
Right.
that's
Right.
insane. And we're not talking about 0.8 3-point attempts per game. You're talking
Right.
about 4 or 5 a game. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Ajay wants it to be 10 or 12 a game.
Yeah,
He doesn't never want to drive to the basket.
that's great.
But I actually think that that's one of the things that reasons why he's not scoring as much is because those drives. And Boogie put it best. I didn't even think about it. So I'm glad I asked the question because you increased my understanding here is that when you take those drives away, because he had one free throw attempt in the last game, just one. I mean,
Yeah.
that leads me to believe he's just playing on the perimeter and he's not in attack mode. And so, the fouls go to the aggressor. If you want to get to the line, you've got to go aggressively. And he gets called for those offensive fouls sometimes. I know. And he goes to the ground a lot of times. And maybe it's just one of those things we can't afford to have both of our stars out. So we're going to, play him differently down this stretch. I don't know what it is, but I think it's a fascinating question. And I think it's something that's haunted Towns' entire career, even in the postseason. You've seen him have great series like he did against Denver and then against Dallas. I think a lot of people would argue he was a no-show. So I think that this is certainly something that we should monitor going forward. And I think that's an outstanding question. I'm going to have to ponder that a little bit more, Ajay.
Yeah. Yeah. A, a part of me, it just depends. It depends. You know, if the other guys are picking it up and picking up the slack, I don't know if you force it. I don't know if you know, I think you just keep doing what you're doing. But there will come times in a game where that's not happening, and that's when your number one and your number two have to go to work. You know, I don't know though if Cat is that. I don't know if Cat is somebody you can go to. Maybe you can. Maybe you can because whether he scores or not, you know, he could definitely make the pass. I guess I'm thinking out loud in terms of when the offense stalls. Is he somebody you can go to and make something happen? And not on a Brunson level. Don't get me wrong, but you know, I think you can. I don't know the answer to that. A part of me is just like the other guys are rocking. Don't try to assert yourself too much. Just play within the flow of the game. But I do hear you, Ajay. There are times when,
Is
yeah,
that
we
is
need
that
you to.
is that enough for the playoffs though? Like right now, you could do that. You could lay back, but when come playoff time, we're gonna need like all hands on deck at that point. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can't
no
just,
doubt. Yeah,
and that's that's not even a concern, but it's just like something to
yeah,
think about.
yeah, yeah,
It's like but anyway.
Yeah, we don't
yeah.
need the going downhill towns. The second half of the season town. I need that first half of the season, that all-star hungry go get it, Mr. Towns. It's if your offense is not clicking, that's understandable. All players have droughts. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Sometimes they got to find their way. But when you're rebounding, you're not even Windexing the glass like you used to. You know what I'm saying? You was one time
Mm,
14 rebounds a game. So when you're not scoring, don't let that stagnate you from doing other things.
facts.
He's just becoming more clumsier in the game. Clumsy fouls, being clumsy play, not hustling, being out of position and stuff like that. No, that's when you turn up in other areas, and that's how your offense finds yourself. Instead of you going looking for your offense, you can't go look for your offense again with cutting loose the other things that you do that's a part of your game. And that rebounding is
Facts.
very, very big on in his game. 14, 20, 25 and 14. He was leading the league one time in rebounding. All
Yeah,
you almost up under 10 rebounds. Come on, Towns, you got to pick it up. But if you coasting right now, and you know what I'm saying, this is the perfect time. But we like we did, like as you just said, we need all hands on deck when it comes to the playoffs.
yeah, no
And
doubt.
you are a all superstar on this team. You know what I'm saying? You've done a lot of things another big man has not done. We need you to be balling out. Matter of fact, Tim Thomas, what are y'all doing? Getting this dude here. Larry Johnson, getting this dude here. I don't need y'all dudes just sitting around, you know what I'm saying? Once a Nick, all a Nick. I don't want to hear that no more. Get in these dudes' faces and their grills and let them know what they supposed to be doing, how they supposed to be doing it, and when they ain't playing good, what they need to be doing until their good game come back to the bad game play that they're doing. So I need everybody on deck, man. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, man. And take off the mulberry. You got the stunners on. Conversate with it. Go get Deuce. You ain't talk to these guys, man. Man,
Yeah,
we got too many guys in the building for us to be doing like we be doing at times.
yeah, 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 for sure. Without Brunson, the Knicks are 7-5, right?
Mm.
19th in offensive rating during that 12-game stretch, seventh in defensive rating. What changes offensively when he returns? What changes defensively when he returns? And specifically, how much better can the offense get? And some would argue the potential for it to get worse. And how much, if at all, will the defense take a hit? So just basically, what do you think will change, if anything, offensively or defensively with Brunson's return? Ajay, we'll start with you, Boogie, and then Geoff.
Well, not so much. I mean, listen, obviously, you're going to introduce a player, even though they played with him, there's going to be an adjustment period. But also, Queen, let's not forget, it's not just Brunson who's out. Deuce is out also extensively.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so we making. I mean, there are a lot of moving parts here,
Yeah.
right? Is Brunson going to come back before Deuce or Deuce before Brunson? I mean, there's a lot of like we don't know what's going to happen, but Brunson, he's our primary point guard. It's gonna be an adjustment period. And like Boogie said, he is sitting on the sideline. He is watching. He's studying the game. He's watching how these guys are playing, and I think he's smart enough. He has enough basketball IQ to understand when he comes back into the game to make some adjustments to what those guys are capable of doing, to what those guys are bringing. It's going to be tough because you've been playing a certain way your entire career. It's going to be tough all of a sudden to make an adjustment. But like I said, he's smart enough, and it's easy, and it's easier for him when the other guys are playing well, right? Why do you want to make it harder for you when you got guys, on your team that could take some of the load off your back, right? I think he's smart enough. He's gonna kind of work his way into what's going on right now. Okay. And not just not just him. The coaching staff also got to work him back into what's going on right now. Like, everybody has to adjust. It's not just him. It's not just on Brunson to do that. Everybody else got to do that. I don't want Mikal Bridges to fade back into the shadows once Brunson comes back, or OG Anunoby to just focus on being a defender and not give me 18, 20 points like he's doing right now. Average. You know what I'm saying? So everybody has to adjust. We don't. It's just not fair to just put that on Brunson. Yes, he's the captain. Yes, he's the team leader. Yes, he's the point guard. But he's gonna work his way into it. But everybody else got to work around it. It's an ensemble. It's a team. Everybody's got to adjust. So when he comes back, I hope that the other guys don't fall into the shadow and just be the Brunson show like it's been at times. I hope everybody. I don't expect them to be as aggressive, but I want them to continue to do what they're doing and introduce Jalen Brunson back into the lineup. And that way, I mean, like I said, if those guys play a little bit more like they're playing now, than like, playing in the background like they're just Brunson supporting cast, we're going to have a very nice playoff run.
Yeah. Do you think anything changes defensively? Because now I would guess with Brunson back, Mikal will be back to playing, the opposing team's point guard, navigating screens. Takes a lot of energy. I think we underestimate, how much energy that takes and how much of a break he's had with Deuce starting and playing at opposing point guard. And then I think it was Cam when Deuce went down, and now DeLon Wright. What do you think happens defensively? Do you think that there's been an increase in our defense? Do you think that continues?
Well, I mean, Jalen Brunson is not a great defensive player, so our defense probably going to drop a little bit. And it depends on the matchup too. It depends on who you're playing. Mikal Bridges doesn't necessarily have to check the point guard. It depends on who's on the other side, right? Like when we played Milwaukee, Dame did, if Dame is down, like, who plays for them, right? Like, do you really have to have Mikal Bridges spend his energy on that, or you want him to be like a little bit more effective? So it depends on who's on the other side. I expect the coaching staff to do their job, look at the scouting report, and see how they can mix and match Brunson. You're going to have to hide him somehow. He's not a great defensive player. We know that, right. So you're just going to have to do the best that you can to hide him and to get a supporting cast around him to help, to have better team defense around him. So yeah, but I think it's going to drop a little bit. I mean, you can't help it, but
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm holding out hope. I'm holding out hope that the team defense will be better, even with Brunson. Geoff, and then Boogie, what do you think changes offensively and defensively, if anything, when Brunson returns?
Well, do y'all remember the cartoon strip Peanuts when you were a kid? And Linus, and everywhere Linus went, he had that blue blanket that he carried. Y'all remember?
Yes.
And he couldn't live without it. Like he'd rather die than have anyone take away his blue blanket. Well, I kind of think that Jalen is their blue blanket sometimes. You know what I mean? With OG and Mikal, they just, he's there. I'm comfortable. He's going to take care of it. I don't have to be in attack mode. And I think what needs to change if this team is going to reach its full potential is that they have to take that blanket and burn it and just say, we're going to be in attack mode all the time. Jalen's going to find us in the positions that get us enough shots where we're going to be able to be effective. And we've got to make life easier for our point guard by staying aggressive and staying in an attack mode. Because the more that they attack, the better that they're going to play, because that's their games. I think every time that you see them struggle, it's from passivity and lack of confidence. And right now you're seeing a high level of confidence in both of those players. And part of the point guard's job, part of Brunson's job is going to be feed that confidence, right? You've got to continue to feed the beast. And if you don't, if you starve it, then it's going to, go back and revert to what it was before. And that's not what this team wants or needs. So to me, I think that's a significant change. But I think Ajay had a great point about Brunson's basketball IQ. He's seeing this on the court. Right. He's seeing it live. This is what my guys are doing when I'm not in. These are their capabilities. This is what they can do. But at the same time, if you listen to the Roommates podcast, he's always telling Josh Hart to do what? Shoot. He's always telling him to shoot. But you know what? He can tell him till he's blue in the face. He can tell him 18 million times a day. Ultimately, it's up to Josh Hart to shoot, right? It's on him. So in some sense, yes, Brunson needs to do these things and be a leader, but at the same time, it's a mentality that has to come from the other players, from OG, from McCall, and from Josh, to say, okay, we're comfortable in our roles. We know that we have to step up and play bigger as the postseason comes along. And that's the only way that this team reaches its full potential. And that's why these guys have been brought here. And it's not just them. Cat has to do it too. So I think there are challenges for sure. And on the other side of the ball, it's clearly we're going to struggle. I mean, everybody, to their credit, everybody who's played, everybody who started at the one spot in Jalen's absence has done a good job on the point of attack. I mean, I think that DeLon Wright has been a surprise, a revelation, in fact, with the way that, I mean, he had 2 steals and 2 blocks the other night. From your point guard, that's pretty good, right? I think anybody would take that. I think that's one of the reasons why he got a majority of the minutes, is because he is so effective defensively. And it is, shout out to Jericho Sims. He did something right. He got us DeLon Wright and helped us win a couple games. So shout out to Jericho.
I'm going to get back to DeLon Wright and Kolek, but I wanted to give Jay Boogie a chance to share his thoughts on what, if anything, changes offensively and defensively when Brunson returns.
It has to be the defense. It has to continue on being the same. You've been watching us put on magnificent defensive runs at times. A lot of people look for offensive runs, but this team has put together defensive runs whereas they go out there and they shut you down for a good period of time. That has to continue with Brunson on the floor. We already know he's not a great defensive player. He's halfway good. But we know he has the mind frame and the mindset to try to play defense. If he didn't, he wouldn't be having these charges and stuff. So I think Brunson needs to elevate his game in other areas, the defensive end and the assist end. You know what I'm saying? The assist is going to keep them guys doing what they doing, what Bridges been doing, and what OG been doing. And now OG is showing that you don't have to be assist for me at times. I can go get it now. And that's what you like, but you still need his assist to be up. They're helping Towns back with his game, and you know what I'm saying. And utilize Josh when you come back. Let Josh continue handling the ball at times. Don't put so much dribble into it. But more importantly, Brunson has to be more willing to play more defense when he comes back. That's more important than anything else. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to be able to get defensive stops at the most crucialist offensive time against the opponent that we're playing. When they really, really trying to get a bucket, you got to be really, really trying to stop them from getting that bucket. And Brunson, you're on the floor, and the Queen just said it. Times when you were not on the floor, these other guys have stepped up. Cam has stepped up, in your absence. Wright has stepped up in your absence. You know what I'm saying? Those are more defensive guys. We don't ask you that you be like them guys because we know that. We know you're not. But we ask you to continue on try to maintain some of that defensive efficiency on the floor when you return. I don't care about the offense. We can score with the best of them, and we're one of the best of them. But that defense is where you're going to win. I think Queen said something about being 7 for something since Brunson was gone. That don't need to fall off. It doesn't need to fade away. None of that. None of that defense that we've been doing
I
while
hope
you've
you're
been
right.
watching these games, Jalen, they need to stay exactly what they are if they can't get better. Stay exactly where they are and don't get worse. And one of those things, stay where they are or get better, but don't stay where they are and get worse. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, I can't wait for Jalen to get back, man. It's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen during this final run, this final stretch, and going into these playoffs. But defense, man, Jalen, you're going to have to continue on playing defense, and they're going to have to continue. They're going to have to talk even louder and even more on the floor with Brunson out there. That communication that Josh, Bridges, and OG are having together, and at times you've seen them with Mitch out there, and that defense is working. When Brunson is out there, it's going to have to be more communication, more loud talking, more loud speaking, you know what I'm saying, and being able to see what these other guys, what Brunson is not seeing because you're backing him up. You can see what they're trying to run coming towards you. We got to be much louder with Brunson on the floor. Help him help himself. You know what I'm saying? And while they're helping you help yourself, Brunson, make sure you're giving them the effort that they're helping you with. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. And real quick, shout out to the chat. Actually, don't want to say that. I don't know where the lights are at. My baby, she don't bust in the door. She took my laptop.
No, I'm
I don't know where the
checking
lights
right now.
at. Shout out to the chat, man.
I
Blessings,
am
health,
checking it right
happiness,
now.
man.
Yeah, definitely shout out to the chat.
38 likes, 39 likes out of 75, man. Y'all need to do better than that. I just refreshed this thing here.
Let's get right now.
Yeah.
Let's get right.
Before we get to the point guard position going forward, DeLon Wright, Kolek, I do want to shout out Shamit, who stood out for me this week and just finally knocking down some shots. I mean, his defense has been solid throughout the course of the season when he gets minutes. But when we signed him and you looked at his 3-point shooting percentage, you looked at his playoffs, the games in the playoffs, that he had playoff experience is what I'm trying to say. You're like, wow, all right, we got a shooter coming off the bench. And that has not been the case. Now, the aggressiveness has been there. He'll take the shots as they present themselves. They just wasn't falling down. Shout out to him. These past few games, they have been falling down. And you could just see the lift you get when you have your bench playing well, knocking down shots. And shout out to Precious too. You know how I get on him. He get around the basket. Next thing you know, but lately, he's been doing better around the rim. You could, when the bench plays well, it elevates the team. And so shout out to Precious and Shamit. And I want to piggyback off of Jay Boogie in terms of the defense with Brunson and talk about Karl-Anthony Towns. Lately, he's been rotating to his spots. Now, sometimes he'll get to the spot and they'll score anyway, but at least now he's getting to his, and that's all I'm asking team defense wise. Rotate to your spots, be where you're supposed to be, because there's been times this season when he hasn't. So I've noticed the past few games he's doing a better job rotating, being where he's supposed to be, getting out, on the switches, getting out, moving his feet. Listen, he's not a defensive juggernaut. He's just not. But I believe anybody can play team defense. It's about anticipating and just being where you're supposed to be in, and that's where I want Karl-Anthony Towns to, improve on. But I definitely wanted to give that that shout out to Shamit and Precious this week.
Hey, can I give out one more shout out too?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is I don't know. I know y'all probably seen it. several times because it's been going on for a few games. But I want to say, shout out to Brian getting on the front of that bench. You know what I'm saying? I need you to get Maurice on the front. You look better in the front on that bench, being more involved, talking and talking to the players instead of talking over a cheer. When the guys come in of a timeout, you look more better and more professional when the timeout is coming and you going out there walking to the players than you standing there behind the bench. I need Maurice to go up there with Brian. So you know what I'm saying? Because y'all guys been a part of this game and know the game. Them guys is laptop guys. Let them dudes just do whether we need to do do we need to throw the flag and check and whatever they call that thing. When they make the bad call, let them guys let Tibbs know, if we need to review the play and do it, and use our challenge. But y'all guys know the games, and I must say, I've been noticing Brian sitting on that bench.
Who's Brian? I'm sorry.
Brian.
Mark Bryan. Mark Bryan. Okay. Yes. Mark Bryan. Okay.
And he's sitting on that bench, and it's like he don't broke up with Maurice. I'm gonna get involved, get up here. I need Maurice up there too. You know what I'm saying? You just back there, you're chilling with Othello, and you're asking, do you know Othello don't want to give you none of his bubble gum? You keep asking, you chewing gum now. You know what I'm saying? Get up here and get to these games. It's serious time, serious businesses now, man. I just want to shout Brian out, man, for being up there on that front bench, man. I be looking and watching everything.
Let me add a little more. I'm gonna attribute this to Mark Bryan because he was brought in specifically to work with our bigs.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about somebody getting excited. When Mitchell Robinson get the ball and he moves it along and passes it to somebody in the offense, as opposed to like not even turning toward the basket, I said, "Oh my, okay, they working with him. They working with him on the offensive end." And so I've been seeing that with with Mitch when he gets the ball, it don't just stop where everybody got to run and get the ball from him. He's able to like find the open guy and pass it along, and that seems like a small thing, but it keeps the defense moving. Whereas when he did it and he stopped. Now the defense get the rest till somebody come and get it from him, and so it's a small thing, but I see that in his game, and they're hold on, and they're working with him. So I'm gonna attribute that to Mark Bryan because that's what he was brought in to do, to work with, and Mitchell Robinson being more aggressive offensively at times, So hey. You want to say something, Boogie?
Oh no, you was right on. You mentioned how he dribbled and stuff. I seen him grab rebound, take 3-4 dribbles out last game. I was like, okay, when you get ready to do it, don't go between your legs though. Don't do that.
Yeah. I just want to say to the chat, you guys are first of all, I appreciate you being here, rocking with us tonight. And you guys are entitled to agree or disagree with what we're saying. Totally in bounds. But I think when you start coming at the panel, you guys are crazy or like real disrespectful stuff, I'm just going to put you on a timeout. That doesn't mean you can't disagree or whatever. You could disagree without being disagreeable. Let's just put it that way. But I appreciate y'all rocking with us. I want to talk about the point guard play. Brunson is close. Who knows when he'll be back? McBride, I was trying to get an injury update prior to the show. Looked like he might be out a few more games. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. What do you think of Tom Thibodeau's? And we talked about this on the Just Nicking It Weekly show, and we all thought Kolek would start. What do you think of?
No, not we all.
We wanted him. Well, a lot of us wanted him to start, but thought Tom Thibodeau would go with the veteran.
Right.
Yeah. Do you think do you agree with the decision? Just your thoughts on going with DeLon Wright over Kolek. Ajay, go ahead.
It's kind of tough not agreeing with it because it worked. I mean, it's successful. We've gotten good results out of it, so it's kind of tough to say, that wasn't a good idea. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it worked. it worked out, in both cases. You can't really, you know. I mean, DeLon Wright has come in. He set the stone. He's playing defense, deflecting, blocking, doing all kind of other stuff. And Coley comes in. He's dishing, and a lot of dishing. Is like almost like I think he's got like one turnover.
Yeah.
All the time he's been here. It's worked. It's kind of tough to say otherwise, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is what happens a lot of times where we judge whether it was the right or wrong decision based on the based on the outcome, right? Um, Boogie, what's your thoughts on it? And then Geoff, we'll get to you. What was your thoughts on Tom Thibodeau going with DeLon Wright over Kolick?
I was okay with it. Be honest with you. To me, Kolick is not all the way ready. But Kohler still needs, my bad, I call him Tico. Tico needs to get some playing time. But as far as putting him out there to start right now, you know what I'm saying? I think he went with the right decision. This guy has 10 years in the league. He knows how to play the game, and he plays defense. So if you play defense, you know what I'm saying, Tom is going to always lead a little bit more into your favor. You know what I'm saying? And that's not to take anything away from Tico because his time is coming. It's just haven't arrived yet. It's not the Manuel Quickly situation. He has guards that are in front of him that he's not supposed to be playing in front of. Even though you see other teams playing younger guys amongst their team and everything, younger rookies and everything, but they're in totally different situations than what the Knicks are. You know what I'm saying? But this with him putting White right in there, I was okay, and it's paid off, and it makes Tom look good. Those that don't like it are the ones that they don't have nothing to say because Tom made a good move and it didn't backfire. If it had backfired, you'd have got all hell breaking loose. You know what I'm saying? You should have this guy. Blah, blah, blah. Why they don't play rookie? Blah, blah, this, that, blah, blah, blah. But it hasn't backfired. And Wright is looking like he's having fun out there. He's feeling like he has a part. So you have to use this guy. We trade him for something. We brought him over here. Even he's not, I don't think he's going to be here next year. But you know what I'm saying? He is a solid contributor, you know what I'm saying, that he can provide to this game, especially on the defensive end. He can run the offense, and he knows what he's doing on the floor. He's not scared or nothing like that. It's just, he's not a shooter like these other guys. Everybody don't need to shoot, but just run the offense. It's a difference between a point guard and a ball handler. Just because you got handles don't mean you can run an offense. This guy doesn't have a major handle, but he can run the offense, and he's getting us involved. Bridges is happy, you know what I'm saying, and OG is happy. And when he goes out, I've been seeing Tico following suit to what he's doing to keep that going, you know what I'm saying, moving and sharing the ball, you know what I'm saying, keeping the ball going in front of him instead of holding on to the rock. So, I'm happy that, Wright is having a chance to do what he's doing. We know when Cam comes back, that's going to change. But he stepped up in Cam's spot. When Cam stepped up in Brunson's spot, and then he got hurt. Now he's decided to go with, Wright to step up in Cam's spot. And Tico is stepping up in the next man slot. So he's getting his playing time coming off the bench. He's it's better. It looks better for him than what it was early in the season. It's unfortunately he's going through injuries, you know what I'm saying? But I'm okay. I'm happy with the decision.
Yeah, I will say before I get to Geoff, this is why they signed Beauchamp. I hope I got
Yep.
that right.
Yeah.
And DeLon Wright. If you look back to last season, when we had these catastrophic, not that the injuries themselves were catastrophic, but as a team, these catastrophic injuries, we were down to two-way contracts and G League players. And I think the front office wanted to have this injury insurance, right? So now we got a fourth string point guard. I think if anything were to happen to any of our wings, I do think that Beauchamp would probably get in before Pacome Dadier, that insurance. So for me, for a championship contending team, if you're serious about going far into the playoffs, I thought it was a good move by the front office to shore up these super situational guys with players who had NBA experience. I love what the Knicks did with their draft, and those guys' time will come. Kolick, McCullough, Huck Porty, Daddy, their time will come. But there's nothing wrong with having some vets, if you have to break glass, and this is a break glass situation with Brunson, Deuce, Cam. So, DeLon Wright, he's switchable because of his height. You can him, Bridges, and OG. They can just switch. He's not a great shooter, as we all know, but he breaking up 2-on-1 fast breaks. So yeah, kind of like what he's doing defensively, and his lack of shooting so far is not hurting us.
Queen,
Geoff, Adja, you want to say something?
I was gonna say, let's not forget PJ Tucker in there too.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that too. PJ Tucker
in terms of signing veterans. So
yes, correct.
Hey, real quick, and stay right there, Queen, because when you say Beauchamp,
Mm-hmm.
let's get an offer some more credit about and Ted some more credit with this guy because he's not going to be eligible to be on the playoff roster. So with him not being on the playoff roster, he's not using him and putting him in the way of somebody else's playing time that can help and that's going to be in the playoffs. So shout out to Tibbs, with that move too, you know what I'm saying? Because he can help the team, but no, you're not going to be on the playoff roster. So I don't need you to be in here in the ways in case I need one of these guys. So, that's a big move too, along with, using Wright. That's a big move at keeping Beauchamp but not being able to use him because he's not going to be on the playoffs. But he has a big future for us being on our bench and our rotation next season. And that's what they needed to start to be doing. They're doing it this year. They got a big piece to come be on the bench for next season already.
Yeah, thank you for that. I definitely missed that he's not eligible to play.
Why can't he be? I didn't know that. What's the Geoff?
Jeff, Captain though.
Come on, Geoff. Why can't he be on the playoff roster?
I don't know anything about it. Probably, I would guess that it has something to do with the date that he was signed by. I think you have to, if you're signed as a free agent after a certain date, you're not eligible for the postseason. I don't know the specifics on that one. But again, you're talking end of the bit. Like if Beauchamp was playing in a playoff game for us, we're in deep trouble anyway. Like that means the wheels have completely fallen off the wagon, and it's time to see what golf courses to play at the summer, probably.
I mean, that's the same thing with DeLon Wright, though. But those guys, listen, you hoping, Geoff, that they just come in for like possessions, one game if somebody has to be out, and not just he's coming in to replace Bridges. What I like about this team, and this might be the point. Let me leave something on the bone. Go ahead, Ajay, because you might be saying what I was about to say.
No. I was gonna say if those guys are playing, that could be because we blowing somebody out. That could be because somebody's getting blown out by us, and we got our guys sitting on the bench chilling and laughing. And you see both playing the whole fourth quarter. You never know.
Tim's gonna play him at least. Oh, he's a two-way. Okay.
Oh, he's a two-way. Okay.
Hey, thanks, chat.
Appreciate you.
There you go. Good job.
Listen, I don't want to go away from Beauchamp, but before I came on here, I read that they were gonna PJ Tucker was gonna get a 2-year extension.
Yeah,
but the second year is a team option, so it's basically just a salary cap move. I saw people freaking out. Oh, it's a highway robbery. They gave Tucker. No, that's a salary cap maneuvering. He's going to be used in a trade as in the summer, in all likelihood, in the same way that those guys we used in the Mikal Bridges trade. What was the kid's name from Toronto that never played for us? I don't remember his name, but anyway, they have him for that purpose only. So that second year is a team option. I highly doubt that they're going to pick it up. So it's all about salary cap and giving yourself a small salary to be able to aggregate in the summertime. So please don't freak out about, first of all, it's a minimum contract. Secondly, it's not a guaranteed 2-year deal. So
is it 2 years past this year or including this year?
I think it's including this
It
year.
includes this year.
Includes
Next year
this
is a team option, is my understanding.
Team
Gotcha.
options for 25, 26.
Okay. All right.
Well,
Cool.
he's
Jeff,
eligible.
sorry,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you can finish because I was going to ask Jeff if he wanted to weigh in on the Kolick right
No,
choice.
let the captain take off.
Okay, it's funny because I think DeLon Wright has played really well, but box plus minus is an imperfect stat. But Kolek has had a better box plus minus than him in both games, and I think that's kind of ironically funny to me for some reason. I'm kind of with DJ Shuttle, and I wish he was here because he's a big Kolek guy. But I was kind of disappointed that he went with Wright, but against Milwaukee, that was kind of his revenge game, right? He had 10 of our first 20 points, and then, and he's really been solid defensively. And what brings to mind for me is it seems like with the Knicks, we always have players who can play one side of the court pretty well, and they're kind of a disaster area on the other side of the court. And if you could combine Tyler Kolek and
right.
Delon Wright into one player, you'd have a really good bench piece. But
Right.
But they both have their weaknesses, and right now I think Thibodeau's thinking is that we need the defense more than we need the scoring and the playmaking, and so he's leaned into the veteran instead of the rookie. I don't think it's a case that he doesn't like or that he doesn't trust Kolek, and I think that what I think, and I could be wrong about this, but I also think that if Cam Payne were to come back, I'm not sure DeLon Wright would be taking up those backup minutes. I think it would be Payne and Kolek. So I think that shows that Kolek has trust, but he has a defined role in coach's eyes as that second string point guard, and that he feels like that's going to maximize his abilities when he's in the game. And it's kind of tough to argue the fact when he's been really effective in the minutes that he's been given. And we tend to be of the mindset that, oh, well, if he's effective in 18 minutes, just double it. And he's still going to be, just as effective or doubly as effective, just give him more minutes. But that's not always how things work, right? Sometimes if you play a guy longer minutes, there's fatigue, there's other things that factor in where you don't get that same performance that you do when you kind of have him in that sweet spot of minutes right now. And I think that the 18 is kind of where he's at right now, but don't be surprised if Cam Payne decides to go sign elsewhere next year, or we just can't afford to bring him back because of, second apron status. Don't be surprised if Kolek just takes on that role full time next season.
Yeah. I mean, I think for all he does offensively, teams do go at him defensively, right? And so I think that's one of the reasons why Tom Thibodeau went with DeLon Wright and keeping his minutes, the way it is. And to Boogie's point, the team has been, whether Kolek is on the floor or not on the floor, the team is still moving their bodies and moving the ball. When he comes in, he just continues and keeps it going. All right. Let's just get in. Jalen Brunson is gonna be back soon. I don't know when, right? He's missed 12 games. The Knicks are 7-5. He said he's close. I've seen some things on Twitter where some fans would like him not to just rest, don't come back into the playoffs, even if you are ready to come back. Others who feel like if he does come back, that he should be on a minutes restriction, whether he needs it or not. Your thoughts on how Thibodeau and the front office should handle, or how would you like to see them handle Brunson when he returns? Boogie?
All right, let's first thing first. I think Brunson, he don't even care about the first team or NBA and all that stuff. So that's right there. That's a plus up right there. That's saying that he's really focused on what he needs to be doing for this franchise and this organization and this fan base. Bringing him along slowly and carefully. I don't need to mess around with this regular season. You know what I'm saying? I need him to be as much as 100% that he can be. He can play himself back into game shape in one game. You know, we played Milwaukee in the first round. That's nothing. That's nothing. They up out of here in the first round. And
Love it.
it is what it is. You seen him the other day. Giannis ain't even cool with being in that green jersey no more. He don't even like what's happening no more. And then boy's out with that quad or whatever injury he got. But I'm gonna be real safe and careful. If I don't need to, I'm not putting him on the floor. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna continue on developing and getting these other guys prepared just in case I call your number in Brunson's time. You know, we'll figure it out. I know you can't get back game speed in practice. Those are two different speeds. The Spalding doesn't move like it does in practice being compared to being out there on that floor. But I'm going to take my time with this guy because more than anything, we all want us to be able to have a healthy shot. Beat us healthy. You know, we was robbed of that last year, all the way across the board. And the guys that were on the floor that was playing, they gave everything of 150% of what they had. You know, they still deserving a standing ovation. But I'm not trying to play no games, shucking and jiving, trying to, get Brunson back. He can play himself into game shape in the playoffs. That's just me personally. So
Yeah.
I'm handling him very, 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 very carefully and very, very, very tentatively. I'm still want to act like he's still injured.
And that's even if he's 100%. Because
That,
from what I'm understanding is that they're waiting for him to be 100%, that they're not taking any chances in terms of rushing him back. So you're
Mhm.
saying, for example, let's just say there's 4 games left and he is 100%. You're saying not only wouldn't you play him those 4 games, but when the playoff starts, you would limit his minutes as well.
Yeah, especially if I'm going against Milwaukee, and if they ain't got Damian Lillard out there, yeah, I'm limiting him. I need him to be ready for them guys up there in Massachusetts. That's what I need him. I need him to be 100%. I don't need him re-injuring, none of that. And long as we're locked in for the 3, and shoot, hell, I even take being locked in for the 4 if it happens. But the way it's looking right now, that we're going to be good still in the 3 spot. So I don't need him to help me maneuver up. We're not going to go. We're not going up, and we're not going to lose home court advantage through first round. We locked in at the 3, and we locked in at the 4. So I need him to be ready as far as playoffs. And if we get Milwaukee again, they're done. I'm not even trying to force him out there.
Right. Do you think? Well, nobody wants to force him.
Yeah,
If he
you know what I
if
mean.
he's not reckoning. Oh, okay. Not yet. Um, what was I gonna say? Y'all know my condition. My niece came now, threw off my whole trainer trainer thought. Anyway, it'll come back. Ajay and then Jeff.
So in terms of Brunson coming back, honestly, if we rolling, I wouldn't bring him back, and not because not because of ease of schedule or anything like that. Because you see, we all know what happened to him, right? He has an ankle sprain. You never 100% after your ankle sprain in that short period of time. Like it just never happens. I sprained my ankle, I feel like 30 years ago. And every now and then I roll over a little pebble and I'm like, oh, like it comes back. You know what I'm saying? So you never, even with the treatment, you never. So the longer you stay out, the better it is for you. Okay. And it's not like, it's a short period of time. So he's not gonna lose anything in terms of strength and conditioning. And I'm sure he's doing all kind of exercise anyway, just not putting pressure on the ankle. So I would keep him out. Um, until like a couple of games left in the season, just for him to get his wind under him. But the longer you stay off your ankle when it was sprained, the better the better chance you have of it not happening again, easily in a game, because you build a little strength and it get close to normal. I feel like they never get back to normal, but that's the only reason why we'll keep him. Not because we like underestimate. And I'm not saying J-Book, I'm not saying you're underestimating Milwaukee. I'm with you on that. I think they out of here regardless. I think they're going fishing early, but you still want your guy on the court because you want to work that. Remember, I said, in the previous segment that there's going to be an adjustment period. You want that to get going. You don't want game one of the playoff is when they all trying to figure out, oh, Brunson's back. What do we do now? You know what I'm saying? So you want him to be on the floor with the other guys to get it going, to get accustomed what those guys are doing, before the playoffs. You don't want to try to figure it out in the playoffs. So I would keep him as late as possible, but still find a way to bring him back the last couple of games of the season. Even if the other team's not playing their top guys, I would still bring him back just to get some NBA action before the playoffs.
Okay. All right. Geoff, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, he hasn't played since March 6th. Is that right? Is that when he went out? The Lakers game? Is that March 6th? So that would be over almost 5 full weeks without being on the court. To me, part of being healthy is being in condition. So I think he's going to need – I think it's a mistake to hold him out till game one of the playoffs, unless the medicals say, like, if he's not ready to go, like, but if he's clear and the medical staff is like he's 100%, I think he needs to get out there because every rep that he plays is going to be getting him closer to full form and being able to do the things that he does best, getting to his spot, having the proper lift on his jumper when he makes all those moves. All of that stuff is dependent on being in true game shape. And, one bad game can cost you a playoff series. Like we beat the Sixers by 2 whole points that entire series. We won the series 4-2, but it was a razor's edge, right? Everything was close, and you could say what you want about Milwaukee, but I mean, what if Damian Lillard comes back and then all of a sudden different ball game, right? And so I think our most important numbers right now are 3 and 5. 3 and 5. And the reason that our most important numbers are 3 and 5 is those are our magic numbers. Any combination of Knicks wins and Piston losses that adds up to 3 guarantees us the 4 seed. Any combination of Knicks wins and Pacer losses that adds up to 5 guarantees us the 3. With 8 games left, 5 is not a small number, right? And our schedule is kind of beefy on these last 8 games. I don't know if you noticed it or not. Like, we've got a game against Philly, but after that, like, we got Cleveland a couple of times. We got Boston, and Boston's won like 8 in a row. Cleveland is out for blood. I mean, the Hawks are looking for a playoff spot. Like, there's not a lot of gimmies or easy ones left on the schedule, especially in comparison to what Detroit and Indiana are facing. And it's always been to me with magic numbers, take care of your own business. Like, go 5 and 3 at a minimum, and then you don't have to worry about scoreboard watching or any of that stuff. You just take care of your business. Well, I'm always going to feel more confident in our ability to get a win with Jalen Brunson on the floor as opposed to off. And I think it's a spectrum. I think it's a continuation. I think it's very difficult, even for a player of Brunson's caliber, to say you haven't played in a month and we just expect you to be playoff Jalen come game one, especially, God forbid, but what if we're on the road in Indiana? Like, that would not, to me. Like, I love the optimism. Don't get me wrong, but a lot can happen in these final 8 games, and we have a much tougher path than Indiana. We have a big lead, but a lot can happen. And we went 3-1, but we had a pretty cupcake schedule. Well, we fixing to come down to it right now. I don't think we're going to be holding the Cleveland Cavaliers to 35 points in the second half. You go down 8 in the first half, you're probably going to get pounded in the second. So, I feel like we've done a good job being 7 and 5 in Brunson's absence. If the medicals say he has to sit, by all means sit him. But if he's healthy, I think he needs to play. And that way he gets enough time to ramp up and be the closest version to his full self as he can possibly be by the time the playoffs start. Because I don't care how much work you do in a pool or on a bicycle is not the same thing as running around. And we're asking him to guard and play defense and do all this stuff, and then also be our primary option scorer. Well, you know, I don't think he's just going to be able to step on the court and be the exact same player. Maybe he will, but that's not usually how that stuff works, at least as far as I understand. So I'm a lot. I agree. If there's an issue with he's not 100%, don't play him. But if the guy is healthy, I think you at least got to get him 3 or 4 games to get his win back, get in the groove with his teammates, get reacclimated to the team and what they're doing now. Because otherwise it's kind of like game one is mystery science theater. And I don't want that. I want more of a sure thing. I want more preparedness. I want more certainty as far as what we have going into that playoff series.
Yeah. And I'll say that, Milwaukee would be without Dame, and then we'd be without Brunson. Listen, we're smoking right now, in terms of how OG is playing and how Bridges is playing. The playoffs is a different animal, man. I hope we get this OG in the playoffs. I hope we get this Bridges in the playoffs. But the intensity ratchets it up on both sides, our side and and whoever we're playing. So yeah, man. If he's 100% and we can get him back for a few games before the playoffs, to me, I would like that. Obviously, if he's not 100%, we're gonna have to go into whoever that first round matchup is without him. Like I'm not rushing him back. But even against Milwaukee, I feel like we're gonna need Brunson to beat Brunson. But we'll see. We'll see soon enough. Let's expand it to the entire team. We're talking about Brunson and his minutes if he were to return. If the Knicks are either third or fourth, are you curtailing any of the other players' minutes for these last 8 games? Knowing that you're probably going to be either 3 or 4. Ajay?
Wait, say that. What was the question again, Queen? Sorry.
Are you, with the Knicks locked into either the number 3 or the number 4? I don't know if it's locked, but it seems it would be one of those two. With 8 games left, would you start pulling back on the minutes of the rotation players?
Absolutely, I would. Okay. Queen, first of all, shout out to the Knicks, and no shout out to the mainstream media. And I point out to you, Knicks are only one of 4 teams, Queen, who locked in who clinched the playoff berth, right? And they still don't get no respect. Like they still talking like the Knicks is like some sideshow or something. We're one of 4 teams in the league. Like right now, we're set. We're going to the playoff. Nobody else out of those 4 teams. OKC, Cleveland, Boston, and the Knicks. We're set. We know we're going in the playoffs. Everybody else might fall into play-in. They don't know where they at. We know where we at, and we still get the respect. But to go back to your question, yeah, I would reduce some of those guys' minutes and let those guys, start thinking about them. Not only get them ready for the playoffs, but also let the other guys get some burn because you might need them in the playoffs. So it's like kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. In this situation. So I would definitely, rest those guys, and not to mention avoid possible injuries, man, because us, the Knicks, we have a knack, man. OG pulling a hamstring, all those non-contact injuries, man, they tend to happen to us right when we're rolling. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I would,
Would you reduce the minutes, or you're saying you would sit them?
No, I would reduce the minutes.
Okay.
I would, I wouldn't sit anybody Other teams do that. I don't think we should do that. Let those guys play a couple of minutes and then hand it over to the bench guys. Let the bench guys get some burn, but have your guys available in case they need to to warm up or whatever. But if we're locked in at the third seed, which we're not yet, in a couple of games we will be, but if we're locked in and there's nothing to play for, I don't see the point of getting those guys out there. I would start saving them for the playoffs. Yes.
Okay, Geoff.
Well, I think Ajay's last statement is the one that's my philosophy. The rest versus rust argument is always a difficult one. I mean, it's a different sport, but you look at the Detroit Lions in the playoffs, had the week off, and they came out and they were not sharp against Washington. They turned the ball over. They were really sloppy, and they went home. And that it cost them a Super Bowl win. You never know. But with the Knicks, as long as there's something to fight for with seeding or and making sure we get home court advantage, then I'm playing my players the normal amount. Once you get to the point where you can't go anywhere, like the games are literally meaningless, if you want to cut back on their playing time, then I'm for it, because you don't ever want to see a guy get hurt in a game that doesn't mean anything. But I think that last year proved to us that we won the second seed of the final game of the season, and game 7 at Madison Square Garden didn't matter because we didn't have a roster left. But if we did, I think if we were healthy, I think that would have made a huge difference for us, because the Garden was just electric. It was popping. The more games that we can get at MSG, the better off this team is going to be, because even the team admits how much of a lift that crowd, that when it gets going, but that energy, you can feel it through the television, man. It's so, New York fans are so amazing. Like I've not seen that anywhere else. And it's crazy that we were even bringing that same energy on the road last year. Like Philly had that buzz and it was all Knicks fans, and they hate it, and I think you're going to see that probably on Tuesday night if that game's on the road. I'm not sure if it is, but I know we play Philly. I don't know where the game is, but I think that for a team that has put a heavy burden on their starters as far as minutes are concerned, if you're, let's say for sake of argument, we clinch the third seed with 4 games left, if you want to rest one player in each of the next 3 games and cut back on the minutes I'm perfectly okay with that. But again, if Jalen Brunson is healthy, I'm putting him out there at least some, if he's healthy and could go, because I think that's the way he's going to get his stamina back. And I think that is as key an ingredient to a deep playoff run for us as anything.
Boogie, your thoughts on resting players over the next 8 games? Do you agree that we got to lock one of those positions down first? Or as JJ said, he said all the rest of the games are meaningless right now. We can start resting guys right now and just kind of wherever we land up, 3rd or 4th. Your
No,
thoughts?
we can't rest guys until we completely locked in from 3 to the 4. You don't want to shut down the rhythm these guys are in, the timing that they're in. They got a lot of good basketball that's going on with they self, so you don't want to interrupt that completely. Unless a minute restriction, you can do that. But we must go ahead and lock in the 3 or the 4 first. And then we can start playing back, and putting moving other guys forward and bringing somebody and rewinding some of these guys playing time backwards. You know what I'm saying? That's more importantly is having everybody's healthy as much as possible and safe as possible going into the playoff. But still in all, you still want to make sure that you secure home court advantage in that first round, no matter what, by any means. 3 is a tough run, because it could be Milwaukee, it could be Detroit, it could be Indiana. We don't know. It could be tough, and then you know what you got in the second round if we the 3 seed. You got them Boston guys, and we get through them. We got Cleveland. Yeah, like I'm gonna say it again. We get through them. We got Cleveland. But yeah, I want to go ahead and lock down the positioning first before I start pulling these guys, take them out of their rhythm, take them out of their timing. You know, they shooting good and everything. You know what I'm saying? I want them to stay much as they can in rhythm, close as they can to the play-in, because when the play-in starts, that's a break too. You
That's
know what I'm
true.
saying?
That's true.
They get a break right then and there. So you can make it to the solidify, you know what I'm saying? Play out the solidify, and then you get your break, and then we come back, you know, together. You know what I'm saying? But um continue until we lock this 3 or this 4 in.
Yeah, and I would say even when we do lock it, rhythm is important as well. Rest is
Mhm.
important too. So there's that balance between rest and rhythm. So even when we do clinch third or fourth, I'm not just sitting guys and just having
Mhm.
them sitting until the playoffs thinking that they're going to be able to just turn it back up, game 1, reduce minutes, absolutely. Maybe sit like I think it was Ajay who said, or maybe it was somebody in the chat, sit one player per game and then reduce the minutes of other, something like that. But
That's
continuity
cool too.
matters. You want to be playing your best basketball going into the playoffs, and it looks like the Knicks are peaking a little bit. We'll see what happens when Brunson comes back, but and we'll see what happens when we play tougher opponents, right, over the next, this week and next week, right, whether we're really peaking. But continuity matters, going into the game on good rhythm as opposed to the past 8 games, 6 games, the guys sat and rest, and all we did was played the bench guys. No, we got to find that balance, in my opinion, between the rest and rhythm, as I call it. Anything else on that before we get into our upcoming games and then call it a night? Anything else about anything?
Um, you said, Queen, I think you mentioned that you're trying to get a injury update on Deuce. And anybody in the
Yes.
chat like got anything on that, or even campaign? Like, what's the story with him? Anybody?
An ankle injury. I don't know. Like it's a high ankle sprain. He may be out for a while.
Campaign? Really?
Payne's got an ankle injury. I don't know if it's a low sprain or a high sprain, but I'm pretty sure it's an ankle injury.
Well,
JJ said they're both ruled out tomorrow. I'm getting some static in my headphones. You guys hearing that as well?
Yeah, I hear it.
Yes.
I don't.
Yeah. All right. Let me know in the chat if that's annoying. When I'm not talking, I'll definitely cut off um my mic. But I do have to talk right now. So the Knicks have 4 games this week. Tuesday we play Philly, who are number 13th in the Eastern Conference, 23-52 on the season, 1-9 over their last 10, and they've lost 8 straight. Then we're at Cleveland Wednesday. Again, we're on a back-to-back. They're number 1 in the Eastern Conference, 60-15 on the season. Only 5-5 over their last 10. They won their last game. Then we're at Atlanta Saturday. They're 7th in the Eastern Conference, 36-38, 6-4 over their last 10. They won their last game. They're 4 games out of the 6th spot, but only 0.5 games out of falling to 8. So they'll have something to play for Saturday, and then Phoenix on Sunday. They're number 11, so they're right out of the play-in in that Western Conference. 5-5 over their last 10. They've lost 3 straight, but still 1.5 games out of 10. I'm not sure how much that changes by the time we play them, but they'll have something to play for as well. Um, just your thoughts on this week's slate of games, Boogie. We'll start with you.
Um, who we got tomorrow?
Philly.
Philly.
We got Philly. That's a no-brainer. That's a wash right there.
And we playing at home.
It don't even make a difference. Philly trying to make sure they keep that pick. That pick. It's more important than them winning games right now. That 6. They need to stay within the top 6. So I don't look for them looking to do anything. Um, already let it be known that Atlanta game, it means a lot to me. Already don't got my vitamin D milk red top. Already don't filled it up with Clay. I'm looking to win this game. I'm flicking that top straight across the Atlanta Hawk game. You know what I'm saying? I got to get some get back from Trey. Me personally, when he's trying to silo us on our court, I'm playing Skelly on the Hawks court from Saturday. So I will be there letting y'all know. Anybody in Atlanta that's inside the chat, you know what I'm saying? Come rock with me. I will be in 104 section somewhere up in there, right there by the Knicks. So I look for us to handle our business. I look for us to not, to beat Atlanta. I look for us to really feel like, we need to settle the score again, especially on y'all floor, and take the season series. I think we'll take the season series, if I'm not mistaken. I think it might be 3-1 or something like that. But I look for the team to continue on gelling and playing together, you know what I'm saying, and be there, committed to winning, committed to, playing, tough basketball, winning basketball, I look for these other guys, to continue on getting their time, and when their name get called, to go out there and leave it out there on the floor, Tom is going to be Tom. How he is about in-game adjustments and everything. Sometimes he might do a in-game adjustment, and most of the time he won't. But I'm just ready for the regular season to be over with. It's been a long, long, long regular season. For some reason, I don't know, but it's been a pretty good, regular season. But I'm ready for the playoffs. I'm ready to get started. Let me see it. Let me see it. You know what I'm saying? Because, well, we'll be finished, done with summer league, and be ready to start NBA all over again. But yeah, I look for us to definitely come out 2-1 out of these next 3 games. Definitely.
You're muted, Queen.
Ajay?
Queen, just like Jay Book, man, I'm ready for the regular season to be over, man. Let's get this playoff thing going. I'm not even worried about the only thing I'd like to see us in the next 3 games. I don't even care about Philly. Like JJ said, if they let Philly win, so we could mess up the tank, so to mess up their chances. I don't care if they win. I just want to see us play against Cleveland. I want to see what we're doing against Cleveland. Of course, Atlanta Hawks, we want to beat them every time we see them. We want to beat the crap out of them every time. But I do want to see us put up a good game against Cleveland Cavaliers. I hope they don't sit none of their starters. I hope they come in full strength, because I want to see what full strength. We're not even at full strength. I want to play them full strength to see how we measure up against them. And we also play them the following week, and I want to see the same thing. Hopefully the following week we'll be at full strength, with Jalen Brunson and Deuce McBride back, so we could really see, what we're going to be up against in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm not. I'm not. There's no prediction. I don't know if it's gonna be 2-1, 1-2, or 3-0.
Week 4, 4 games.
Oh, we're going all the way to Saturday.
Sunday we play Phoenix.
Sunday we play Phoenix.
Phoenix, I want to beat, especially if losing to the Knicks means they missed the play-in. That one I want to win, because I want to see Kevin Durant go on vacation early.
He's already on vacation. He's out.
I know. So I don't want him to have the chance to come back. I'm still salty about that. The Knicks ain't cool nonsense that he was talking about maybe 50 years ago. I ain't letting that one.
AJ don't let nothing go.
No.
He's been holding on to that rope since 1974.
Yes. So if we're the last L that keeps the Phoenix Suns out of the play-in, love it. I want to see that happen.
AJ de Vengeance, not AJ de Vengeance.
No, certain things I let go. Queen, I don't worry about that Brooklyn game no more. Remember that?
But it took a while. It took a minute, though.
It took a minute, but I let go.
We played Brooklyn the last game of the year. We'll be back on here and be saying the exact. I remember that. Play the starters 48 minutes. We got a sweet Brooklyn again.
Oh, Devin Booker.
Right.
Not poor Devin Booker, man. I like that. Maybe that's Leon Rose's boy. Maybe he'll think about coming over here. So I like that they're in shambles over there. So
Okay, stay right there. Stay right. What you gonna do to go get him? Stay right there now.
Correct.
no. We'll talk about that another time.
No.
We'll
Hey,
talk about that another
get
time.
him, chat.
Listen, we'll
Get him,
talk about
chat.
that another time. We'll group chat. Yeah, that's one of those. Listen, Leon and the boys, I'm sure they'll figure it out, man.
Yeah. Geoff, your thoughts on this week?
Well, 2-2 at a minimum, hopefully. Get ready, buckle up for the Quentin Grimes 50 burger on Tuesday. You know he gonna be cooking against us. It'd be real fun if McCall took on the task and really shut him down. That would be cool. But I don't know if Maxey may be playing, so I don't know who will have what assignment. But 2 back-to-backs in 1 week, like. I feel like we had a ton of weeks where we played like 2 games, and then we have like, and it'd be one thing like with Cleveland, like if we're both playing back to back, all right, but they have like 3 days off, and then they're gonna come in full strength. Like he says he wants Cleveland at full strength. He's not gonna be saying that after the first quarter, but we're down 15, looking like zombies out there, in comparison. I mean, I hate the NBA schedule does not need to be like that anymore. Like we don't need as much time for travel. They all have their own private planes. Like there's no reason for them to have, and like if they have NHL arenas, like the NBA is more important than the NHL. Make the NHL do their thing. Like move your game. Like the NBA is where it's at. Like they should be able to schedule this stuff where there's no longer a second night of a back-to-back. I think that's crazy. And if you are both going to have one, make sure that both teams have one. Like that's just balanced scheduling. And you can't, you could say that it doesn't matter, but it does. I mean, these are people and we're going to mess around and play with our food against Philly. So we're going to be overextended for Cleveland. You could just bet that that's going to happen.
You guys remember the lockout season? We used to have 3 games back to back to back.
I know, but that was extenuating circumstances. I know. We've been playing since late October. Like, I mean, literally we had games where we'd have 2 games in a week, and we were sitting here twiddling our thumbs, and now we've got, 2 weeks left in the regular season, and we've got 4 games each week. Like, they couldn't have spaced that out a little bit better over the course of a season. I don't know. I mean,
we got Cleveland.
I don't think it matters that much, but
Cleveland twice on the second day of a back-to-back. Man, that's wrong.
We've played Cleveland the second game of a back-to-back every time all season. I think all 4 games against them.
They did us dirty, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Nah, it's not that they did us dirty. With us playing Cleveland, they knew. All right, coming into the season, they had us ahead of Cleveland. That this became a good rivalry. It's supposed to be Boston, New York, Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? And when they did the schedule and everything, these are marquee games that they wanted to see late in the year. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I look at it. Like it's just that Cleveland don't turn the page and went. They don't really balled out this year. You know what I'm saying? And we're still trying to figure things out, but. That's still a good matchup for us, and I would love to see them in the second round. I really think we beat them in a series. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. Cleveland is Cleveland, there, but I believe they was making sure they don't play us or Boston in the second round. They trying to make sure. They've been playing winning basketball. They've been playing Tom Thibodeau type ball all year. Win these games.
Well, think about this, Jay Boogie, and I'm just daydreaming here, but think about this for a second. The Orlando Magic get the 8th seed.
Right.
And play Cleveland in the first round. And remember, they were this close to beating them last year. That series went 7 games before Cleveland got them. And Orlando's getting healthy again. Wouldn't it be fun if Orlando knocked them out in the first round, and then if you're sitting there at the 4 seed and you survive Detroit, and then you play Orlando in the second round? Wouldn't that be something?
Oh, that'd be a beautiful sight. But first team first. They ain't got Snugs on the floor. They ain't got no point guard. They ain't got the other Wagner. They missing a whole lot of ingredients over there on that team. So Orlando is not who they was looking like when the season became early, when they was looking like, the number one defensive team and you really want to play them guys. They ain't got no floor general at all. So, I mean, they just out there, man, right now. I just finished watching it. Yo, let me say something, y'all, real quick. Kawhi Leonard is back. I don't know how much people been watching around the NBA. I watch all NBA basketball, and I love to see when somebody is down and people try to cover him up, make sure he stay down, and he fights to get back up. Kawhi is back, and he been slowly but surely making a name on some guys. And word is that that's the one team that OKC don't even want to play. They've been having some tough matchups all year playing against one another. And they got that guy from there. What's the guy name they got from Atlanta that be shooting? That used to come off the bench. Is it is it was it Bogdanovich? Is his name Bogdanovich too?
Yeah, his name
Bogdanovich.
Bogdanovich.
Yeah.
When they throw their big man on the floor with Kawhi, Norman Powell, James Harden, and him, they putting up buckets. Yeah, I just like to see a good story, and we got an amazing story right here in New York. I love, I'm because I know Queen get ready to shut it down. You know what I'm saying? So, Captain, he tried to rain on my parade a little bit, but you know,
I love it. There you go.
I love everything that says New York, but this one right here is special because that's my homeboy. And I know what he wanted to do all along, all season. He been wanted to play in New York. He put his name down. It was two teams that I knew for a fact that he wanted to play for. One was the Knicks and one was Miami. But when Jimmy Butler started bugging, he didn't want to go there. He wanted to come here. When you're a veteran in this league, it's hard for you to be able to say what you want to say and how it's hard for you to come at guys how you want to come at guys when you're not used to these guys and you're also on 10-day contracts. You have to play yourself very careful. The first 10 days, you got to play his position. The second 10 day, he still has to play his position. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Now, with him being signed, I feel like my voice is inside the locker room now because I know what type of guy he is. You know what I'm saying? He's going to have a voice with these guys. He's going to have an opinion with these guys. He's going to have a say-so with these guys because I'm signed for the rest of the year. So I look for him to grab Towns by his jersey. Yo, come on, dog. You're an all-star. You playing like you ain't never been here before. I know how he's going to get at these guys. And we needed somebody like that on this team that can get at these guys. We have not had a voice. They make their little comments, you know what I'm saying? Josh make his little comments, but as far as, being a voice on that floor, and you already seen him in motion out there on the floor, rooting and cheering guys on, you know what I'm saying? He's making his mark. But now with him being signed for the rest of the season, that's going to help us, as far as them guys understanding what Miami had with Udonis Haslem. Not the same long length period of time and as Udonis was in Miami because he's going down as a Miami legend along right up under LeBron, right up under Dwayne, LeBron, and Josh is going to be Udonis Haslem. What he brought to the table for them guys in the locker room and on the bench and all that. This is what we can get from PJ right now for the rest of the season. And I do wish that he can still be a veteran on here next year because we're not solidified with nothing on the bench as far as next year. And this is something we have not had in a long time. And I don't even know when has it been since we had a voice. You know what I'm saying? That somebody, okay, I understand what he's saying because he's been through it. He understands it. He's a champion. He's a warrior. And he's going down in history as probably one of the top 5 players that has nothing to do with stats. hustle play. You know what I'm saying? Never get up, hard work, dedication. You can show these guys this, that. You know what I'm saying? You in the league now? No, what are you going to do to stay in the league? You know, it's a lot of things. You know, I'm just happy for my main man. You know what I'm saying? I was happy for T.J. Warren. You know what I'm saying? You know, getting to the squad. These are personal friends that of mine, and I will have a PJ anthem, but it won't have nothing to do with the Knicks. It's going to be representing PJ and who he is as a person, a player, you know what I'm saying, throughout his career and what he's done in the community, the city of North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina. So, yeah, so I'm happy for PJ and his family. And I'm happy personally as a Knick fan to see one of my friends, you know what I'm saying, being a part of this and somebody I know who really cares and is dedicated to this game. I'm getting ready to mute. But real quick, 365, say I'm fresh, death with different gear. What that mean? A different outfit every day, year. I'm the one that bought the G when they made the Q. You get it? GQ. That's another suit. Shout out to Mr. You know what I'm saying? Clyde Walt Frazier. Make sure we
Yeah.
give honor, respect, and glory for his birthday, everything he is as a person, what he been doing, what he continue to do 80 years, you know what I'm saying, the breathing, you know what I'm saying, being the icon that he is. We deserve for that statue to be, whether it's on the outside of MSG or inside MSG, that man's statue needs to be in existence because he means that much to not only the Knicks, not only to the fan base, but you think of the fashion, and when you talk about fedora hats, you're talking about Melo wearing them, LeBron wearing them. That come from Clyde. I don't care about Shaq. No, Clyde had the first Rolls Royce. All those things that he presented to the league that come from Clyde. You know what I'm saying? I gotta get honor, respect, and glory for him. You know what I'm saying? For who he is. Happy birthday, King. Wish you many, many more, man. Appreciate you always. And that's coming from us, the queen, the show, and everybody, you know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? So we love you, Clyde.
Yeah. Happy birthday to Clyde. Just real humble on the telegas, and you see Mike Breen giving him homage, and
Mm-hmm.
he's just a really humble guy, and just doing it, man. I mean, not just they listed his accomplishments, but they didn't even talk about it. It was real small in the bottom. He made the 50th best all-time team and the 75th
Mm.
best players all-time team. 75, 50. You know what I mean? That just says a lot about him and how they think about him and the role that he's played. And I think Patrick Ewing made both teams too. So happy birthday to Clyde, and I'm with you on PJ Tucker. You listen to Denver players talk about Green and DeAndre Jordan, and they talk about how even though those guys didn't play, their presence, their voice in the locker room meant a lot
Mm.
to that championship team. And I always said I would have liked Green. What's his first name? Green from Georgetown.
Jeff Green?
Jeff. I said, man, I would love to have Jeff Green
Right.
on this team. But to have PJ Tucker, to me, that fills the same role.
Mhm.
The Knicks, I don't know if he has enough. He's new to the team. Even though he's signed, he's still new to the team. But we talked about this. I think it was on the Just Nickinen show. The Knicks don't have somebody that doesn't care whether you like them or not. Like
Right.
Michael Jordan said what he had to say, whether you liked him or not. Kobe said, now
Mhm.
those guys now, in all fairness, was the best player. They were the best
Easy
players on
when
the
he's a
team.
coach,
So
right?
they can say, well, what they want to say. But even
Right.
if he doesn't come at them the way a Kobe or a Jordan did, just somebody that's gonna have some respect in that locker room to be able to say some things that need to be said directly. So I'm all for this signing. I know people are saying they would have liked to have some more talent on the bench, some more scoring. Moses Brown at center. Some people said, T.J. Warren for buckets. Don't underestimate when you're a championship contending team, having those guys in that locker room, making sure that locker room stays strong, making sure
Mhm.
people stay focused is super important. And I'm loving the way the Knicks are putting out. This is the first year of our championship window. But to
Right.
bring in DeLon Wright and Beauchamp, you know what I mean? To bring those guys in, Beauchamp for next year, I'm learning, but DeLon Wright just in case there's injuries, right? And
Mm-hmm.
this is what happened. And then to sign PJ Tucker for that locker room, even if he never plays a game, to me, it's worth it. So kudos to the front office as well.
Yeah.
Ajay and Geoff, do you guys want to add anything?
Yeah, it's all cool. He can't be hugging up on Draymond though.
Too late.
I'm not with
Got a
that.
hold of that rope again.
Nah, I'm not with that, man. Come on, man. Draymond out there dissing our guy, calling him soft and all that. After the game, you all hugs and kisses, man. Like, none of that stuff, man. You could have done that before the game. After the game, you walk to the locker room. None of that goodbye, I love you stuff, man.
Ajay just wanted someone to go up and punch Draymond in the face.
Oh yeah.
Get suspended for 10 games.
Anybody. It could be somebody in the crowd too. Just run over.
Could be Rick Brunson. He don't care. Here's what I'll say about PJ Tucker. It's good to have somebody in your locker room who's been there and done it before. Championship experience matters because there are times as a team, if none of you have ever been through something before and you're in a tough moment, you may not know the proper way to react to it. And so having a guy who's been through the wars and has experience, relatable experience, to say, hey, when we won the championship, we were in this situation and we had to do this. That makes a difference. That kind of experience is valuable, even if he doesn't see the court anymore. So I tend to agree with you. I wasn't expecting, big minutes or from a 15th guy anyway. I mean, the market's pretty dry. If that guy was out there, I'm sure there are other contenders who would have snapped him up. I think our rotation is, even with the injuries, is pretty well set and solid. I mean, we have our guys that are going to get minutes. So, you got to fill the end of the bench somehow. Might as well have somebody with a championship pedigree.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
I know Queen said something about, I know a lot of people, like the Moses. I was watching him all year because I watched the G League games too and repping, you know what I'm saying, supporting my man TJ. But the office must feel like he ain't played so long. I forgot how to pronounce his name. The office must feel like Hot Porty can get back this year. They must feel like that. So if he can get back, that's going to give us another big. If he can get back, definitely for the second round and to be there, that's big for the team. So maybe that's why they didn't go with somebody like Moses, you know what I'm saying? Because they feel like he can get back. There's no need for him to get back and Moses is here and then you're just stuck with them. Let me get something else on this team. But, we'll see.
Any last words? Shout out to the chat. I appreciate y'all rocking with us. Keith Turner, Knicks 100 a GM, Ralph Unreal. What's that? Apro Found Dream. I don't know if I got that right. On Dios NYK, holding it down. Appreciate you. Wiz BKLA, Slap Ammo, Old Head, Wayne Patterson. I'm not gonna get to everybody. Kevin Bergen, Jabroni _Z, Andrew K. Good to see you, JJ, in the house always. I appreciate you.
My high school brother right there, Benjamin Cardoza, orange and blue twice. You know what it is, Double J.
There it is. Old Head, B-Baller for real. Lonnie Meeks, Greg was in the house. King Cypress was in the house. Appreciate everybody. Yeah, I can't get to everybody, but I appreciate you rocking with us. Thursday, the Just Nick and It weekly show. We could talk about these next two games we're about to play, Philly and Cleveland, right? So we could talk about that on Thursday. Any last words before we out of here?
Hit the like button on the way out.
Amen.
For sure.
We at 68.
Definitely. Shout out to Simeon Russell, by the way. Appreciate him. All right.
The pod father himself, a.k.a. the Ron O'Neal Superfly, the podcast.
I like that. I like that. All right, family. Until next time.